And there's a few housekeeping things that I'd like to address. I realize some people are still arriving, but so that we start promptly. Number one, there is videotaping of this presentation. So if you could please turn off your cell phones or any alarms that you might have on at this time, that would be most appreciated. Another item that really is helpful is there will be a time for questions following the presentation, and if you are able to make your way to the mic, which I think will be here and one at the back, again, that helps everyone to hear, and it saves us time not having to repeat the question again. Okay, and there was another thing that I wanted to mention is typically at these cultural presentation evenings, we ask for a donation, or rather the church asks for a donation, and half of the money from the donation goes to the community service project of the church, in other words, their outreach, but half typically goes to the speaker, the guest speaker. And I just wanted to let you know that Roberto has identified 3 people in the community that he's currently helping. One with diabetes who visits him regularly to get medication, insulin, and syringes, and 2 other people in the community with epilepsy who also require frequent medication and visits to the lab to adjust their medications. So just for your awareness that any money that is contributed is shared between the church and the speaker, and that's Roberto's intention to use the funds for those purposes. So thank you for that. And I think, unless there's any other questions, there was one other thing. Because this is the last evening, the church people, Nancy Lenny in particular, who is coordinating this the series, would be interested in having some general feedback about the session. So if you've been to several sessions, or even one, and would like to put a comment, you can just go to the church website, and there'll be a place where you can contact, leave a message just directly by Gmail as well. And it's there. These addresses are on the cards that are at the back table as you go. And that way it will be helpful for the people. I know that the presenters already have some ideas about changes that could be made to improve the presentations, but also ideas for next year for topics you might like to hear. Different ones, maybe same ones another time. So we appreciate your support. Thank you so much, and I'm just going to get started with my presentation of this evening's speaker, Dr. Roberto Pimiento Wu, and I'll say a little bit about him. So Dr. Wu completed his medical training in Guadalajara, and he arrived in Melaque as a young doctor in 1976. And he had to complete a year of social service, and he did that at the health center in Melaque, which probably wasn't any near as luxurious as the current health center in Melaque. After his year was up, he really enjoyed being in the community. He had come to help people who really needed help. He chose not to stay in a city, and he stayed here, and he set up his own medical practice. He got married, and he had 2 children, Ariana, who lives in Melaque and has a restaurant here, and his son, Christopher, who lives in Perth, Ontario, which is near Ottawa. Well, from the start, Dr. Roberto became very involved in the community. He likes to help people, both residents and visitors. Some of his early projects included helping to set up the very first high school and preparatory school in the area, which was kind of strange when you think about a 23-year-old single man arriving in town and leading the charge. But he was identified by the citizens of Melaque as someone who could get things done, and he did. In the 90s, in addition to practicing medicine full-time and running a legendary restaurant on the beach, Viva Maria 1910, he collaborated with Mexicans, Americans, Canadians, I should actually say Latinos, because I think there were people from Cuba involved, as well as the University of Montreal, and it was a project to clean the Laguna del Tule. It was also to improve the sustainability of the lagoon for future generations, and they got the job done, and they applied for a grant, and I think they got $150,000 US dollars, Canadian US dollars, to do that work, and that was quite a feat at the time. In his 2 terms as city councillor, Dr. Roberto was the driving force behind the securing of land for a hospital, as well as for building the hospital, and then actually in his second term for completing the hospital that they have in Siwatlan. More recently, during the pandemic, Dr. Roberto, with the support of many friends from all around the world, organized soup kitchens, dispenses, or a group or bags of food. I know you have them here as well at the church, to distribute to people in need, as well as testing, COVID testing kits, medicines, just general advice about sanitary practices and healthy eating. And in addition, also towards the second bout of COVID, he was active securing oxygen tanks for people that were in severe distress. He continues to work with the federal government officials on issues relating to flooding, recurrent flooding in this area, and that has been something he's been working on the last few years, and still continues to devote a fair amount of time to that. And as I'm sure many of you can appreciate, this has been an ongoing problem, and with the increasing development in the town, there's a greater need than ever to make sure that the infrastructure is updated. And one of his many passions is history, local history, and I know that he's very keen to share his recent research information with you tonight. So please welcome Dr. Roberto Pimiento, who's speaking on the history of Melaque and the area.
Thank you very much, Merly. Sounds okay? Well, I just want to say thanks to Pastor Al, Nancy, Alex, Ken, all the guys that put all this conference for the awareness of the community. And for me, it's the second time I have been here. I guess I was here 4 years ago, before the pandemic. And this time I'm going to talk about the local history. I feel like a singer star with this. You know, when as Merle say, when I came from Guadalajara to this town, I didn't know what Melaque means, or San Patricio means, or the reasons of this name. There is only that name in the whole country. It's not another Melaque. It's only here. We have 32 states, and only here in Jalisco, in Siwatlan, we have one place called Melaque. Before was Melaca, M-E-L-A-C-C-A. And that name comes from Malaysia. So we will explain that in a minute. But here put the first people, the pioneers in Manzanillo, and Siwatlan, and the Bay area, the first people that arrived here. There are many similarities in one culture they call Capacha, there is in the Colima area, and the Hamacuaque culture from Ecuador. Many similarities with ceramic, with dental work, even with dogs. The bull dogs, they brought it through the ocean. Here, Colima, Nayarit, and even to the Gulf of Cortez and the north of Mexico. And there are many similarities. Those dogs were called solely Escuintles. I was born in a place called Escuintla. That's my town in Nayarit after Tepic. And they put Escuintla because there were so many dogs, those bull dogs with sticky ears. So you see here, the Mesoamerican culture is similar to the one in Los Andes, the Ecuador, the coast of Ecuador. Okay, the next one, please. So this is the type of draft, you know, they sell from there. From the coast of Ecuador to Colima, it's at 3,400 kilometers. So they came in this time of draft, and you see they even built a house, and the draft were like a 15 meters to 30 meters, and that will go for 25 to 30 people. Okay, see the next one. So you can see here in this draft, and they were using in the top of this picture, they were using fishing nets. And this one is one of the people that used to come from there, and they used this chin strap for diving. And for when they were sailing, the people that arrived to this place, they use even they wear a diving suit because they were diving often for conch, for shells, and they use the shells to make earrings and necklace and the main goods was the big conch that they use even to produce sounds. They open one stream and they use sounds. These people, especially the women, they arrive to this area. It's for that the name Cihuatlan. Cihuatlan in Nahuatl means place of women. We are in a county that is named Cihuatlan. And Cihuatlan is derived from the name of a tribe they call Cihualcoats. The Cihualcoats are the snake women. That means in Nahuatl, snake women. And the snake women, they put that because they use those snake skin, you know, the shamans. The shamans were the people that controlled the tribes. You know, they were kind of the boss of the tribe. So the shamans were mostly women, and the women knew about medicinal herbology. They use even they use the coca leaves. The coca leaves they grow from South America because the cocaine leaf doesn't grow here. So they grow from there, and through the ocean, they grow those leaves, and they mash and a special. Can you see that one? And this type of they call coqueros. These coqueros were found in Playa del Tesoro, across the Las Hadas in Salagua. There was there a cemetery, and they found these coqueros. So they mashed the cocaine leaves here, and they mix with lime stone or lime from shells. So they mash it and they mix it here, and you will see another pictures. Snoring the shamans to hallucinate and see things and help the people. So here is a guy with spatula, and here is a coquero, and they mix the lime with the leaves, they mash it, and then they snore it. It's like this guy is a diver. You can see the things in the head, and then in the nose to avoid the water going inside, and some pans here. So they use that. The women use in the mirrors here, a necklace with mirrors to reflect the rays of the sun. Okay? So you will see that is a diver. It has some things in the nose to avoid the water going, and they're using the mix with the leaves and the lime. So that guy is using the spatula too, and this one too. Okay. So we have here in Cihuatlán, in the north of Cihuatlán, close to El Bonete, Ejido, there is a place where you can see this type of petroglyph, and this is in Ecuador. That's in Ecuador, and this is a image or symbol of the conch, and the conch were a ritual when people die, or some important people die. But this place is 40 minutes from here, our outland. The town is La Concha, and they walk from the Ejido Bonete through the Sierra straight to that area, and they used to take salt with them because they take salt from here, some sacks, and they take that to that area close to La Huerta. But this is in La Concha, and that is in Ecuador. So this is here, Ecuador is 3,400 kilometers to Colima. But they had some settlements in Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Guatemala. In Mexico, they had some settlements in Oaxaca, in Guerrero, a lot in Michoacán, some in Salagua. Here was a place called Salango, and some people say that it's kind of similar name here in Salagua. It's almost similar. So this culture, Hamacuaque, went there to Colima, and then passed to Salagua, and then they passed to Cihuatlán. We're talking about 700, 800, even 1,000 years before the Spaniards came to America. So these people used to bring different techniques of agriculture. Cihuatlán had 27 communities around the river, from the ocean to the river, Rio Marabasco, and those days was named Paquicajo. And 27 communities were living there, and one community was only women. Okay, these women allow men to come every 45 days to pregnant them. They were lucky guys. They came every 45 days, and then if they had girls, the women kept the girls. And if they had boys, when they were 10 years old, go with your daddy. And they kept this community, Laquitipa was the name of that community. And they were good fishing, diving. When the Spaniards came, because they hallucinate a lot with these leaves, the shaman told all the women and all the men, they had men and kids, and even if they live in another communities, they have good relationship. And then the woman, there was the matriarch or matriarchal chief told them, we know that those guys are going to come and kill us. We have to be relaxed and calm, and we're going to receive them, and we're going to give gold, pearls, fruits, vegetables. And they were in line with a long dress, white, and with flowers. And you want to see some pictures of the women in a minute, but they didn't kill anybody. So the boss told the Spaniards, the commanders, that they came through the ocean hundreds and hundreds of years before, and they were so different to the locals because they know how to grow cotton, 4 types of cotton. That was the only place in the whole country that you grow cotton, 4 types: black, yellow, white, and red. And they give tribute to Moctezuma from here to Mexico City. Can you imagine? By bus is 12 hours. So they in those days, they took many things as tributes. Shells, conch, dresses, covers, so many things. That was Cihuatlan was the province that gave more tribute to Moctezuma and Teotihuacan. Okay, the next one. So this is the conch. These 2, they were really valuable in Ecuador, and they trade these for gold, for silver, for many things. And the women and the men, most of the women, they used to dye. Many men died and give it to them, to the women and some of the men coming from Ecuador. And they take this because they say that this type of shells or conch were kind of sacred. And sacred because they use that to bring rain, to bring prosperity, to bring health. And 5,000 years before the Spaniards came to America, they used in Ecuador and Los Andes, they grow the chocolate, the cocoa, to make the chocolate. Here are some of the pictures. Here is the beans of cocoa and some cinnamon, but they invent the chocolate. The chocolate came from 5,000 years before. Those women and men in Ecuador, they use this chocolate. Okay. Okay, you recognize this, eh? So this is Melaque, this is Barra, the lagoon. This picture is from the 50s, I guess. A satellite picture. The Spaniards hear many stories about these women, and then they say, we hear that in Cihuatlan, or Cihuatan, that was another name, there is a group of Amazons, and we want to see them, and we hear that they have a lot of gold, a lot of silver, and so many things, and we want to go there and see is this real. So somebody told them, yeah, it's a group of women and they live in an island. But it wasn't an island, it was here, in this area here. So this is now, here's Cabo Blanco, this area. Here is the El Conchero, they call. El Conchero means the place where they put the shells. And they, in so many years, 100 years here, they develop, it's not only sand, it's shells, ground shells. Because they use it for so many things, especially for the shamans. Yeah. So these settlements, the tribe were looking for places close to the mangrove places or estuaries, because they had a lot of food and a lot of shells and things that they can trade. So this is not natural. This is made by human beings. This area, and it's still there, still there. So can I see over? So you can see another picture where from Ecuador to Mexico, and how they use the draft, they sell, and they trade, and they were really respectable because they knew about esoteric things, because they have this power, a power to treat people, to trade, and to help the community. Another one? So if you go to Cihuatlán for a permit or something, and the official papers of the local government, you can see something like this. And this is the face of a woman, and you can see the blue earrings, and these black lines mean something. The yellow, what's a yellow face, means something to it. And they use this, I call this for the hair. You know. So this woman, when they had those features, is because something special was coming for them, like getting married, or old woman had a birthday or a special occasion. But so now our herald is this, the church of Cihuatlán, the river, the agricultural fields. That is the heraldica of Cihuatlán. And here you can see the Amazons with arrows and bow. They were good using those things. And then everyone respect them because they were really good. They were brave. Another one. So here is showing when the Spanish commanders came, and the Amazons came with aloe veras, with fruits, with gold, with pearls. And that is Cihuatlán. It's a picture from the hill. It's a Cihuatlán, and that is the river that goes straight to the ocean. And straight to the ocean, in 1914, the first president of Cihuatlán opened a canal to take some woods to Barra de Navidad, to the lagoon. But now, well, they put in some black waters in the canal. So we had to stop that. You know? So this is with the forensic techniques, they reproduce the way of the women from Cihuatlán and from Ecuador. So you can see this necklace had some mirror, because that was kind of a culture from the Olmecs. The Olmecs always reflect the sun, and they respect the sun. Actually, they build a lot of places with mirrors to reflect the rays of the sun. And here you can see the earrings made out of shells, because they used to make a lot of things with shells. So you can see the same thing. They were pretty. So you can see they wear skirts, and some use blouse, because they can make clothes with cotton, because they grow the technique how to grow cotton, And this was the only place that grew 4 types of cotton. Okay, so now what Melaque means. The term Melaque is not a name, it's an expression. It's like to say safe harbor, food, water. So when the Portuguese came from Singapore or Malaysia area, the word Melaque is come from Malaysia. And the Phoenicians went to Malacca first, then the Chinese, and then the Portuguese, then the Dutch, and then the British. When the Portuguese were in Malaysia, well, they traveled worldwide in those ships. When they start having problems with the Spaniards, the Pope divide the world with the Tordesillas Tratado and divide the world in 2 parts. And this is for Portuguese and this is for Spanish. And then the Portuguese stopped coming to this area. But they were the first one coming to this area, and the Melaque term or expression come from there, from Malaysia, from Singapore. There is another Awarness program or a project to have a city twins or town twins. There is another Melaque over there, and this is Melaque. And well, that was the name Melaque, and then because a lot of Indians were here working and doing things, they changed a little bit to Maleques and then Melaque. So you can see here some maps, Maleques, and they say Melaque. When the, okay, let me tell you this, yeah. Can I have the other one? So, there were many expeditions from here to Canada, to California, to Philippines. And some came back, but the Philippines never came back until the one expedition in November 21st of 1564 that left from here. You can read this in English. Merrily helped me to translate from one book. The anthropologist Dr. Donald Brand, American. He wrote a book. I read this, and 4 in the morning, the Urdaneta Legazpi with 4 ships left Melaque 4 in the morning with 380 people, and they went straight to Philippines. And then Urdaneta found the return trip, but they moved the shipyard to Acapulco because here, well, they didn't like. So can you imagine now being Acapulco here? No way, Jose. It's better the way we are. With a little problem, but we have to fix it. Okay. So this is an old map. You can see the ships there at the end. We call Punta Melaque. So that is where the Malecon is. And you will see when the pirates came, the Indians used to run to the top of the hills. So, okay, go please. So you can see another, that say in Spanish from Spain, which is kind of difficult to read, how they left here, Melaque in those days. And you can see in the main street, you can see a small monument where the Obigotes was. It's a monument there, and say Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo was a commander that left Melaque and went straight to California. Okay. So, La Laguna del Tule. Why I put the Laguna del Tule? The Laguna is very important for the community. Sometimes the locals, even from Rio Obregón, they don't know anything about the lagoon, and it's for that they don't respect, and they send everything there. From Jaluco, from here, from there, and it's for that in the 90s, I went to Canada, to University of Montreal, and we download from the branch of the ecological branch of the free trade agreement, and we download $120,000 American, United Nations help to clean the lagoon. And we brought equipment in the 90s, and we cleaned the lagoon. It was beautiful. Now it's a septic tank there. And that's a shame, because the authorities don't want to cooperate. And I go to Mexico City, and I'm going to keep going to Mexico City. And all the project is to talk with the federal authorities to build a canal close to civil protection area. You know that area close to the gas station? Well, there we want to open a canal behind the Cerrito de la Cal, behind the Highway 200 over there, clean the lagoon again, and then derivate the waters to the Gulf floodings and Melaque, Rio Obregón, and Jaluco. So this lagoon is important because this lagoon had years ago, in the 90s, we had more than 100 types or species of birds, and we have turtles, we have fish, 8 types of fish in that lagoon. The only thing is the crocodiles, but they're not surviving. Sometimes you can see them dead because the pollution. So it's something serious that we have to talk, and I hope everybody help the way that you want, guys. We have to save this lagoon. This lagoon is really important because it's the second lagoon with sweet water. We have 125 lagoons from San Diego to Guatemala, 125 lagoons, and this one is one with sweet water. So if we contaminate everything, the wells or the lagoons or the rivers, we're going to kill the flora and fauna, and human beings are going to be sick. Good. So pirates and Melaque. So Thomas Cavendish came here in May 1587 and arrived in the bay. And in 1587, we didn't have the shipyard. Well, it was something there, and they repaired private boats and those things. But Thomas Cavendish came and burned houses in Melaque, or like maybe 10 houses, and many other things. But before I forget, in 1563, it was a big earthquake here, 8 in the Richter scale, almost similar to the one 1995 destroyed the Melaque Hotel. So in May in 1587, Cavendish came and destroyed whatever he found here, and burned things, and went back to Salagua to repair his boat. And then 2 guys, Spanish guys, told him that you went to Melaque and you didn't get pearls. And then Cavendish said, we don't know there are pearls there, but you 2 guys come with me and you will tell me where. So he came back 3 or 4 days later and went to another town. The name was Acatlan, close to Melaque. you know, Cuasticomares, La Carechosa, in that area was a little town called Ataclan. And people lived there, like 30 people. They were divers and they produced salt and things. And they had pearls. Huh? So they had a little chapel and communities burned everything. And I didn't really kill people, but burn everything and stole the pearls. Okay? So this is another one. This is a Holland's big pirates from Holland. In November 1615, Joris van Spillinger came to Melaque, and he saw the lagoon was a river because, well, in November, after the raining season finished, well, the water was jumping into the ocean. So he arrived there. You can see the boats there, and over here. Okay. So the boats arrived there, and then they went to the lagoon to get water, fruits, vegetables, chickens, and they killed only one horse, I guess, to eat the meat. But the bay was rich in many things. You can see the dirt with white tail, turtles, lots of stuff, and the hills there there were some Indians living there. People that didn't go to Philippines, they stayed there. So we want to talk about the farms. Here was a farm named Melaque. This farm, Melaque, produced wood, fine wood. They produce salt. They produce the little coconut, the oil coconut they call. And they send those products to the States, and they sell to the rest of the country. But there were another ones, like Hacienda in Jaluco was another Hacienda, Pamplona Hacienda, farm. And then over there going to La Huerta, they produce out of the sugar cane, they produce mascabado and a type of sugar. And but the farm of Melaque was important because a lot of people came because the influence of this town, and they call haciendas. Hacienda was a term from Philippines that they brought here, and then they formed another farm, and they call Hacienda San Patricio. But we're going to why the name San Patricio? When I came here, I said, well, somebody tell me why San Patricio. So I learned about Melaque, what I say about Melaque, but San Patricio. Well, we had a war in 1847, and when we lost Texas, Arizona, Nuevo Mexico, and California, the same amount of friends. And the Mexican army convinced some soldiers from the States, and some came to join the army, the Mexican army. So the Mexican army had this battalion of foreigners, not only Irish people, the Canadian descendants, people from Germany or German descendants, Holland, a lot of people, Polish, and some foreigners, they became citizens. They had a Irish official, John O'Reilly. John O'Reilly was a really famous guy, but he jumped from the American army to the Mexican army, and he was official and got the Mexican citizenship, got married, had kids, and he brought the other people that I say. Then they were when the war finished, many people went back, some to Germany, some to Canada, and some stay in the country. And those members of the battalion, the San Patricio battalion, they put San Patricio because the pattern, the same. And then they moved all over the country. Some went to Estado de Mexico, some Veracruz, some Toluca, and some to Jalisco, to this state. And one day, they were good working in farms, and cows, and horses, and so many things. And they were good fighters too. So one day they were fighting in a cantina with some Mexicans, and the police put all of them in jail. Boom. So next day, came over, started talking, and then, where you come from? So, well, we come from the coast of Jalisco, from a farm called Melaque. So, oh, okay. And what is there? So, well, it's the beach, and it's hot, but it's a good place for you guys. You're specialists in these things with cows and horses. And then they came, like the 7 guys came. And then after they brought their families, and then they get independent, and they formed the farm of San Patricio. The farm of Melaque disappeared because the extension of the Melaque farm was from here to La Manzanilla. And there were like 12 members of that society, and they started having problems, and disappeared. And the San Patricios, we call San Patricios, or Colorados, the San Patricio guys had really good relationship with the Mexican generals, with the militaries. Before 1910, we had the Mexican Revolution. And before 1910, the generals told the guys, we're having problems, internal problems, and in the country. And I guess we want to start fighting again. But they say, no way, Jose. We don't want to take the arms again because we have kids, we are old, and we spent a lot of years in the war. So they didn't want it, and they moved south of Mexico to Guatemala area. And all their relatives went to Guadalajara, north of Mexico, and they disappeared. But some people, it was a society here years ago, and they come to Melaque to celebrate or to give a tribute to the people, to the San Patricios. I don't know what happened, maybe they died, but some Mexicans still are in that group. And there is a monument in downtown and plaza there, a monument for the San Patricio Battalion. I guess we're almost finished. So this is the bay of Melaque and the bay of Barra. So that lagoon of Barra and the Conchero is very, very historical. I'm learning more things, but it's going to be a reason to have another talk. Okay. So this is the last one, and I put San Patricio Melaque, Jalisco, presente y futuro de Melaque y sus alrededores. Okay, we know the past, we know the present, that we have problems. And if we don't take care of these problems that we have, like in the pandemic, my group, friends, everybody moved, and we stopped 100 of them. We stopped. We had deaths, but not many. Because many of help, we gave more than 60,000 meals with 4 or 5 soup kitchens. We bought oxygen tanks. We made 660 COVID tests free. and some labs they charge 1,000 pesos. We gave some protocols back on medicines with protocols for the people with the prescription, and we save so many lives. Each bag costs like 1,200 pesos, and we give it to them, and they survive. So this is what we did. And the present, I put all the problems that are here. Like a few days ago, we didn't have water for 7 days. So I went to the authorities to push, and guess what? Next day we have water. But then they sent me some inspectors and see if I was paying. I said, well, I'm paying. That's not a problem. The problem is because thousands people are without water. So we know that we have these flooding problems every year. And I just like this, that we don't have a hurricane or earthquake. But we have almost 50 years here, and we passed so many earthquakes, hurricanes, cyclones, floodings, so many things. Some are natural, but some are made by human beings. But the one of human beings, we can help, we can repair. But some others, I'm just worried because we have people working in the government at 20 years old, nothing to do, nothing, with no expertise, just paying or invoice or whatever on the campaigns. And we live here, Canadians, Americans, Mexicans, and we need sharp people that know the problems. Why the lagoon is dirty? Why the Haluco area is dumping there? Why the basins or cuencas, the water coming from there, flooding in Melaque? So there are so many things that we had to do and change. But my idea is not only the Mexicans that are living here, so there are so many residents, and we appreciate your help. Well, this is what I want to talk to you, and thank you very much for your attention. Somebody have questions? There's some microphone there. You can help. Is there a microphone there?
If you can make your way to the microphone, there's one at the back, and I think there's one over here. It just helps everybody out, so thank you. If you're not able, just give us a wave and we'll accommodate. Thank you.
Hear me? I'm Roxanne. Too close. You talk about the lagoon being, so important, and I agree. But I've been living here 12 years and full time, and I see like building a gas station on the lagoon after the other gas station had flooded, and then where the fish stores are all there, they're filling up and building, and nobody stops them. They keep doing it, and the whole lagoon going to Barra is being filled up by escombros. And is there something we can do? A petition, something?
Yes, we need action. Many are young, others not that young, but everybody can think, and everybody can write a letter in English and Spanish, and look on the internet, Semarnat, or Profepa, and send it. Take pictures and send it. The lagoon before had 120 hectares. Now maybe it's 80 because construction, some legal, some illegal, dumping garbage. They put in rocks to stand the patio of some houses in the branch of the lagoon. So we took pictures and we sent it. But sometimes there's no response. When the canal over there was dumping water and sending to the ocean, 300 Canadians and Americans and Mexicans wrote a letter. I took it to Guadalajara, and maybe in 2 or 3 months was ready. But then the pipe broke with the next rainy season, and all the sewer water was going into there. So I guess we need to help each other because we live here, our kids live here, and my granddaughters live here. Your friend, your family come, and don't be afraid. I mean, some people say, "Oh, don't you go with foreigners," and they say that we cannot be involved in politics. This is not politics. This is health. It's sustainability. It's a sanitation of the areas. But we can write a letter. Don't put your name. Just put an address, or put my address, or my name, or my phone, and I can deal with those things. It's important to do something. Otherwise, in 5-6 years, and I'm not exaggerating. I did it in the 90s. Because I went to Montreal to work at the University of Montreal with really smart people. And we made a book this thick in three languages, Spanish, French, and English. And I gave it to the authorities. And they say, we're not telling you only the diagnosis. We're telling you that we're going to download $120,000 to clean the lagoon. And we did it. So we did it, and with the help of some friends from Canada. And now it's time to do it again. It's time to do it again. It's one of my purposes. I just had a heart attack and pneumonia 8 weeks ago, and I'm still with energy to do it. I survived. My daughter took me to Colima.
Doctor,
Yes.
just a quick question. I want to thank you for this very informative evening. But for the last 2 weeks, I've been noticing a large machine working in the lagoon. And I was curious, it appears he's just making it deeper, but what is he actually doing? Because he's doing a lot of work out in that lagoon.
No, it's something, I don't have the details, but I think they trade, the government, local government trade that part to somebody to build something there. I give you this, but you give me that. That's a nice view. So that's my idea.
It would appear from what I can see that he's putting a berm along both sides.
Yes.
And also it appears that he's making it deeper to maybe when it does start flood, it won't come that much farther in, but he's,
Yeah.
they've
They
spent
make
a lot
it
of time
deeper
to work on it.
to help a secure area. Yeah. Because you remember the house that Lolita had there and then fall down with the flooding? And we had some money that you guys gave, and I gave it to her. She passed away. I'm sorry, but her kid built a house for her. So the last year of her life, well, she was okay. But that part of the lagoon, it needs something professional, and it's something that is kind of dark there.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Dr. Roberto, can you tell us something about the recent history of Tenecatita? I've heard a number of stories and I find it very confusing. So if you could add some facts.
About Tenecatita?
About Tenecatita, recently, yes.
I know the story, but I don't know the recent things.
Well, I mean, apparently there was an active resort there, and then there was places bulldozed and people pushed out. And I've heard different things, so
In Tenecatita?
yes.
Well, that's another problem there related with politicians. And many years ago, was a war between politics there. And they start fighting, and then they called the state police, and the state police came and burned the palapas and took down everything. And that was empty for many years. The other day I was there, and I was talking with some people, but they say, well, the problem is not, there's no solution yet. That is what they told me. There's no solution yet of this problem. They allow us to come here and put a temporary kitchen. Nothing with cement. It's just temporary. And they pay every couple months to the federal zone in La Huerta. They pay and they can stay there, but no cement, no definite. But it's a big, well, it's going to be a large, a long fight, legal fight. Yeah. Because unless the people that wants to build hotels there pay a lot of money under the table, you never know. Yeah.
Does it involve issues with the indigenous people? Does it involve issues with the indigenous people?
There?
Yeah.
No, not even the ejido. The ejido maybe is on one side, but they cannot do much. Yes.
I have a question about the hill that used to be up on the highway. Who took the hill away and why and how was that? Why was that allowed?
That is a good question. You know, that hill stayed for thousands of years. And suddenly, one guy with political influence just took the hill down. And months before, the teacher of the school, they were high school, they were teaching the kids if it's a maremoto or tsunami or earthquake, run to this. And then the students say, there's no more hill. And they took some part of the rocks to block the canal. So the rainy season has problem to pass from the branches of the lagoon to the lagoon. And we were protesting, and we went to Guadalajara, and then so many things. Nada, we cannot do anything. But the whole area is angry with the guy. The guy is a farmer from Jaluco with a lot of money and a lot of influence. So, I was in Guadalajara the other day, and one big cat in the politics told me, you know this guy? And I say, oh, I don't want to talk about that. And he said, why? Well, because this and that. So they took this. And not only that, the same guy blocked one canal that the water come, the basin come from the hills to Jaluco. And the last administration gave permission to build a resort there, and it blocked. And the water in Jaluco, the water is coming out from the patios of the houses. So there's so many things for that. I say, we know the present, we know the problems, but we have to fight for the future. Otherwise, it's going to pass what is happening over there after Puerto Vallarta, San Julita, the Guayabitos. They have problems, contamination problems.
Thank you for the presentation.
Yes.
I would have one request. If you could possibly, maybe on the Facebook page, just list contact information, because I think a lot of people here would contact the government or whoever. So whether it's an email address or a postal address,
Yeah.
How we can write who we could write a letter to.
You just go to government of Mexico, Gobierno de Mexico, and then you have to find Semarnat, Semarnat, Dayton, Semarnat, or well, and that page is the Profepa. Profepa is an institution that come to see and put fines, and really strong fines. But sometimes are corrupt and they get money under the table.
My experience is most of us, myself particularly, are lazy. So if the address were right there, if you could put a link right there on that page, I think we'd be more likely to do it. But thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we're good. Somebody else? But if you had time tomorrow at 5 o'clock, two women from this town, they're going to present some books of memories of them. They were born in this town. And 5 o'clock, and Viva Maria, you're going to be space there. And they're going to explain, they're going to put some pictures of the old Barra, old Melaque, old Villa Obregón. And we're going to talk about certain issues tomorrow, 5, and then Viva.
Thank you very much, Dr. Roberto Pimentel. Very informative. Thank you all for coming. If you have questions, you can find Dr. Roberto at drwooster@gmail.com, and we will follow up with providing some addresses of the federal authorities and local authorities. We'll have that made available on the church website or through Dr. Wu. So, thank you all for coming. Oh, excuse me, before you all leave, there was a conclusion. I thought I was going to say it earlier, but now I'm going to say it now. Sorry. I thought he'd forgotten, but... And it's finishing on maybe a more positive note. Over the years, the history and collective memory of the town of Melaque has grown little by little. The historic lagoons have become part of the shared knowledge of diverse generations of citizens of the municipality of Siwatlan. In these almost 5 centuries of existence of life in the bay, Indigenous, Spanish, Mexican, African, Asian, French, and North American culture, among others, have merged to form a town of mixed races and characteristics. In 1565, the town and lumberyard's remote location, so far from the city of Mexico, precluded any progress and advancement for its people who had given it their all, and suddenly found themselves abandoned by the Spanish crown and Mexican authorities. Today, with the improved means of communication, a little more modernization, the unique flora and fauna, hot climate, and severe weather phenomena, such as the channels of water from the mountains that affect this area us harshly at times, life continues. Its daily rhythm and cadence here in Melaque. And we still keep our customs, practices, beliefs, and traditions so that our children and grandchildren can learn about them. Thank you.